Hi there guys, it's Steve here from Coils and Coins, and today I thought I'd do a video that's a little bit different to the usual videos. I am going to still hunt a park, and I am still going to be looking for Australian spendable coins, but the settings are going to be a little bit different to what most people will have seen before. So the first thing I'm going to do, my machine's been set up for the way I hunt, but I'm going to factory reset Park 1 settings, so it's the same as it would be if you were a brand new detectorist and you just got the machine, an Equinox 600 or 800 machine. So to factory reset one of the modes, so we're in Park 1, you just hold down the detect button here, the mode button here, until you see SP come up, like so. And now Park 1 has been set back to the factory settings. Now what we're going to do today is I'm going to target the Australian coins, 5 cent, 10 cent, 20 cent, 50 cent, $1 and $2. And I'm going to set it up so that they're the only coins that I'm targeting. And this is a bit different to what most detectorists would tell you to do, and they might think it's a bit of a silly thing to do, but look, honestly, the chances of finding coins in a park are very good. The chances of finding gold rings and jewelry and other stuff like that is very low, and that's something you can look at later on. But this video is really aimed at people starting out who just want to head over to the park with their new machine, start finding a few coins. So very simple. First thing we're going to do is go into the settings. So to go into settings, you just press the gear button once and then you'll be into settings. So what we're going to do is make a few minor adjustments here, and then at the end, after we've finished changing the settings, we're going to do a noise cancel, which will allow the machine to find a channel that's quiet and doesn't have any interference on it, so that the machine runs as quietly as possible. So we're going to go across one at a time to the settings. Ground balance we're going to leave at 0, which is the default. Don't need to change that. Across to the volume, now 22 is fine for default as well. You can increase the volume a little bit with the plus, decrease it with the minus if you want it louder or quieter. Threshold, I'm going to leave that at 4. It's just so you hear a very gentle hum in the background. I like to run with it at 4. Some people don't like that hum at all, so they'll take it right down to 0. I'm going to leave it at 4. The target tones, we've got a few options. We've got 50, 5 and 2 and 1. Now I'm going to suggest 5 is the way to go here. 50 for me is just too many tones. It's too much to hear. Too many different sounds, and it's too confusing, especially if you're new to detecting. So I'm going to suggest 5. Okay, then we're going to advance along to accept reject, and this is where we're going to be making most of our changes, because what we're going to do is set the machine up so that we only hear targets for the coins that we're looking for. So that's going to be 5 cent, 10 cent, 20 cent, 50 cent, $1 and $2. And I know what target IDs these are from experience, but you can soon work them out yourself just by getting a coin and running it underneath the coil on your hand, and you'll see the number that comes up. So a 5 cent piece is a 10. So what we're going to do is get rid of everything up to 10. So at the moment, what we're going to do is go up to 2 and press the accept reject button. So 2, you'll see here the little block. There's a little block for every number. The little block disappears. Move along to 3, press the accept reject button, and do that all the way up until we get to 9. So there's 9, taking that out. We're going to leave 10 in there, so let's advance to 11, and we're going to take 11, 12, 13, 14, 15 out. Now 16 is going to stay, actually, my mistake, backtrack to 13. That's a 10 cent piece, and we want to keep that one, so we're just going to press the accept reject button again. So now you'll see there's a little dot for 13 appear. Going to advance to 16, we're going to keep that. That's a 20 cent piece. 17 is a 50 cent piece, we're going to keep that. 18, we'll take that out. 19, we're going to take out. 20, we're going to take out. 21, that is a $2 coin. 22 is a $1 coin. And everything else we're going to take out above 22. Now people will be saying, oh, you're mad doing that because you're going to miss pre-decimal coins and silver rings potentially and things like that. Look, yes, you might miss those sorts of targets if they're in the ground, but this setting is really only for looking for spendable coins, and we can come back to the same park a different day, change our settings and go looking for other targets. I'm not worried about that in this video. I'm really just looking at finding those spendable coins, and this is a really good program for kids, for people just starting out, just to get a bit of confidence, because there's nothing worse than going over to a park, detecting for half an hour or an hour, becoming completely confused by all the targets and not knowing what's going on, and digging rubbish all day because you just don't know what's going on with the machine yet. You haven't spent enough time with it. This will give you a really good idea of what coins sound like, the tones that you're going to hear, and you know, just how to use the detector in general. So this is what we're going to go with to start with. Just recapping, we've got 10 enabled, 13 enabled, 16 enabled, 17 enabled or accepted, 21 accepted, 22 accepted. Everything else has been rejected by pressing the rejection button. And at any time, you know, we can bring those back in quite simply. Press the accept button, they're back in. Press the reject button, they're gone. So, but we're going to run with this program today. Now that's done, we're going to move across to recovery speed, and 5 is perfectly fine for the standard sort of settings. The default settings are fine for this practice for looking for coins like we're going to look for. So that's it. There are some advanced settings too, but we're not going into that. I haven't changed any of those. There are some other videos where I look at advanced settings and I explain how they work, and you might want to change some of those later. But look, for now, that's all we're going to do. So before we do a noise cancel, we also want to just set our sensitivity to 22. That way we're not detecting too deep. I think the default's 25. Let's back it down to 22. And that way we'll find everything on the surface easily. And if it's down deep, we probably still hear it, but if it's really deep, we won't hear it, and that's kind of where the old stuff might be. We'll come back for that another day. So once that's been done, we're ready to rock and roll. Next step would be noise cancel. Last step is to do a noise cancel, which involves setting the machine up for the area that we're in, because there's always going to be a little bit of electrical interference or electromagnetic interference in the area that you're detecting in, and so to give the machine the best chance of operating on a quiet channel without all that noise is to do a noise cancel. So what we do at every new site is a noise cancel before we start detecting. To do that, we go into the settings and we press the settings button until we get across to noise cancel, which is down here. And then what we're going to do is do an auto noise cancel by pressing this button, now the accept reject button. Now what you want to do here though is you want to point the coil of the detector towards your nearest source of noise or potential noise, which would be power lines, you know, mobile phone towers, buildings, things like that. So we point it towards those sorts of objects, and we press the accept reject button down here, and we let it do its noise cancel. It takes a couple of seconds, and when it's finished, it'll come back to us, and press the go button, the detect button, and away we go. We're ready to go. So what I'm going to do now is just start scanning this area with the detector, and when we get to some good signals, I'll let you have a listen to them, and we'll recover them, and then we'll work our way through the coins. We'll try and get one of every coin over the next hour or so, and then yeah, we'll have a look at how that sounds, see how we retrieve them, and hopefully that will make it easy for you for your first few sessions out in the park. So yeah, let's go. Okay, so we've been hunting around in this area, looking for a signal, a repeatable signal, which is a signal that sounds the same each time you go over it. And I'm also looking for fairly shallow signals, and what they sound like on the detector is like a double bounce type sound. Now I've just found a target that's got all those things going for it, so I think we should definitely check this out. It's one of the, it's a 16, this target, so that's a 20-cent signal. Now have a listen to this. It's going to turn the volume up a bit. I have got the headphones on, but you should be able to hear the target through the headphones on the microphone. Now listen to that. It's a double bouncing type signal. It's a 16. If I move around to a different spot, it's still a 16, and it's only one arrow, so that's very shallow. So what we're going to do is investigate that further, and I'll come back in a second. Okay, so I've got the camera set up, and before we retrieve this target though, there's a few things I want you to know about, a few tools you probably want to get yourself. So the first one's a pinpointer. You can get these on eBay, you can get them from good detecting stores, ranging anywhere from $30, $40 right up to $200-300. You don't have to spend big money straight away, but I would definitely suggest that this is something that you really need to get a decent quality version of. The MI4 is an awesome pinpointer, water resistant, really reliable, but they are quite expensive, but there are plenty of others. So get yourself a pinpointer, get yourself a digging tool, something like this with serrations on there on the edge, just so you can dig a plug, which I'll show you in a moment. You also want to get yourself a bag or a towel to put the excess dirt onto, and you want to get yourself a fines pouch to hang off your hip so you can put your coins and your rubbish and whatnot in there. Okay, so what we're going to do is we've got this 16 signal and it's very shallow, so what I like to do is turn my pinpointer on and then just try and find it. Now if it's very shallow, the pinpointer will find it easily. It's right there and it's very shallow, so what we can do is I can stick the digger in like so and just raise the ground. Now if it was deeper I would dig a plug, but it's very shallow, so I don't really need to dig a plug. It's right here somewhere, and there it is there. So I don't know if you can see that, I'll zoom in. A 20-cent piece, just as we thought. It was very clear signal, double bouncing as I say, and on the surface. So that's a great start, and we'll hopefully find a few others. We're listening for the same kinds of signal, that double bounce signal, repeatable signal, so it doesn't matter which way we approach it from, it sounds the same. And we always cover our tracks, so we're going to replace the bit of grass, the bit of dirt that we dug out, ruffle the grass, make it look like we haven't been here, and we'll move on to the next target. Alright, so I've got another target here. If you have a listen to this, it's a 16 again. And it's got that little bit of a double bounce to it again, so it makes me think that it could well be another 20-cent piece. So let's get the pinpointer. It shouldn't be too deep. Okay, it's somewhere about there. Now this one's not right on the surface because it's not got the double bounce as strong as the last one. So what we're going to do is dig a plug here. So I'm going to dig down around the hole, around the target rather, and I'm just going to dig a horseshoe shaped, like so. And I'm going to leave the back of the hole connected, the back piece of grass here connected, and I'm going to flip the plug up like this. And now what that means is when we're finished and we put it back in position, it'll go back into position without any issues. Now, okay, target's right there. Zoom you in a bit. It's in this piece of dirt. Let's break this open, and there we go. 20-cent piece. Exactly what it sounded like. It had the double bounce, and you know, it just had a consistent, repeatable signal of 16 all the way around. So that's the sort of thing we're looking for. We'll just keep doing this until we find a few other coins and see what we've got at the end of it all. So it's as simple as that. Now, because I've dug the plug, all I need to do is make sure the dirt's back in the hole, push the plug back down, put it back into position, stamp it down with your foot or with your hand, ruffle the grass up, and try to leave it as you found it. And away we go, on to the next target. Alright, this time I've got a 17. Hear that little double bounce? Hopefully you can hear that through the mic. Pinpointer. Okay, should be right here somewhere where that leaf is. Let's dig a plug. First of all though, we will use the pinpointer to see if we can hear it. Yep. That's good, it's not a big area. Pinpointer's not going off everywhere, it's only going off where that coin signal was, so that helps me determine that it's a small target. It's about there. So let's dig a small plug. Let's see if we can find our target. Okay. Right here somewhere. And looks like we've got our 50-cent piece. Perfect. So see how that double bounce really does help determine whether it's a coin or not. A lot of rubbish targets won't have that double bounce sound to them. Sometimes they will, and they'll trick you. But you know, you just dig those good signals. Anything with a double bounce is going to be relatively close to the surface, and if it sounds the same all the way around the coin, say move 90 degrees to the original signal, see if it sounds the same, move again 90 degrees, see if it sounds the same, and if it does all the way around and you've got that double bounce most of the way around, you know it's not too deep and you know it's most likely going to be a good target. So that's the way to do it. Replace our plug. We're good to go. So here's the lowest of our tones, the 10 signal. Once again, hopefully you can hear the double bounce. Now that's very shallow, so that's going to be a 5-cent piece, I'm pretty sure. I mean, it could be a bit of foil or something, and sometimes foil does ring up as a 10, but I reckon it's going to be a 5-cent piece, and it's almost on the top. You can probably nearly see that. Not quite. It's right there. Just don't need to dig a plug for this because it's so shallow. Just dig it, and there's the edge of it. I can see it there now. And there's our 5-cent piece, almost on the surface. Very, very easy to hear because of the double bounce again. Very shallow. Don't have to dig a plug when they're shallow like that, you just pop them out. Let's move on. Okay, there's another 10. Another 10 target, double bounce, shallow. Should be another 5-cent piece. Use the pinpointer. Okay, it's right there. This time it's not a 5-cent piece, it's foil. And that's the difference that will happen, but if it sounds good, you dig it. That's pretty much the rule of thumb. On to the next one. Alright, now while it's good to hear what good targets sound like, it's also good to just take a step back sometimes and listen to other sounds. So I've got a 21 here, but you'll notice that I'm only getting the 21 tone in one direction, so when I come across it from right to left I'm not getting anything, but when I go left to right I'm getting a hit on 22, 21 sometimes. If I move around to the side, it's very scratchy, I'm not getting much at all. And if I go around to the opposite side, again I'm only getting it one way. So while that sounds like a good target, a 21, I'm going to guess that that's probably not a coin because it's a shallow. But if it was a gold coin, it would be giving me a double bounce. and I'd be getting the same signal from both directions. So I'm just going to dig this one up and I'll show you what it was. Just a sec. Alright, so I've dug a plug, and you'll see down in the hole, I can't get this out, but it's a can wedged down in there, and so that just verifies that the signal we were getting one way, not a good signal, not a good signal for a coin anyway, or something that's a regular shape. So anything that's irregular, or aluminium or can slaw as we call it, generally going to be only sounding good in one direction, or patchy at best. So I'm going to leave that down in the hole. I can't get it out, and we'll move on, but that's just a good indication of what some signals can sound like. You think they might be good, but what we really want is a repeatable signal for all directions, ideally the double bounce sound, and then we know we're well worth checking it out. So let's move on. 16, repeatable, double bounce, all the things we're looking for with the pinpointer. It's right there. It's down 2 arrows, so we'll dig a little plug. Push it back. It should be just here somewhere. There it is in the sidewall. 20 cents. Beautiful. Easy as that, guys. Let's keep looking. And just to give you guys some idea of what these settings allow in terms of what you're hearing, if I press all metal on, so I press the horseshoe and put everything on, so it's no discrimination at all, the number of signals in the ground is just overwhelming. There's no way you're going to be able to pick up on a lot of that, especially when you're learning. Maybe when you're more experienced you definitely will, but if we go back to our program and we just have our particular signals isolated, nice and quiet until we hit one. Yes, sure, there might be a little bit of rubbish here and there, but we're not hearing everything and being overwhelmed by the number of sounds. So that's the idea behind it anyway, at least to get started, and then later on when you're experienced we can enable more of those signals and find more cool stuff. There you go, guys, 22, double bounce, solid signal and shallow. That's going to be a $1 coin without any doubt. Let's check it out. I can see that one. It's just on the grass. Beautiful. Recent drop. Easy as that. Let's keep looking. Alright guys, have a listen to this. By now you should be getting some idea of what we're listening to. Hear that? There's a few targets here. There's a 21. There's a 16 over there. So we've got a coin spill here. We've got more than one coin in this area. So let's get one at a time. This is pretty cool when you find these. So they sound very shallow because they're double bouncing. You can hear quite clearly how they double bounce when they're shallow. So there's something right there. Alright, $2. More like it, eh? $2 coin. That was the 21. Alright, now let's see if we can find the other coin. It's still beeping, guys, in the same hole. So we'll come back with a detector and we'll check that again in case there's another one in there with it. No. Always worth doing though. 16. 16's over here. Let's check that out. Okay, it's quite shallow as well. Right next to it. Well, within a few centimetres of it anyway. there we go. 20 cents. Just what we thought. 16. Perfect. Alright, let's get the detector after we fix our hole. And we'll see what else is here, just in case there are other coins here, because often when you find a couple like that, there'll be others nearby. So let's just check that.